call this work session Tuesday, January 9th, 2018, called to order. And I would entertain approval of the agenda. Move.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And Mr. May, no comments, so I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, call to order the Tuesday, January 9th, 2018 board meeting, and I will entertain an approval of the agenda, or a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion?
I'd like to move the contract. You know, when you changed, we talked about.
FEF?
Yeah, I don't have it pulled up right now, but,
Okay.
yeah, if you don't mind.
We'll put that on number 4. Is that?
Oh, we're requiring action?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm putting it under.
Consent.
Take it off consent, move it to requiring action.
Is that okay with you, Scott?
Yes.
Consideration of FEF on number 4.
You made a motion, okay, I'm sorry.
Friendly amendment.
Scott made a second. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, the first item is that of your recognition, School Board Recognition Week. And MSBA every year recognizes the school board during the week of January 21st through 27th. And with that, they send out a certificate to you, and on that certificate says to the Sikeston R6 Board of Education for your dedicated leadership in public education and continuing service to the children of the community. So with that, I also want to thank each and every one of you for your service, your commitment, your dedication, the time spent in the meetings. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're not, but I think we get quite a few things accomplished during those meetings, and they've been very good towards the overall positive outcomes within the district. So I'm not going to shake your hands today, but I'm just going to pass out some certificates.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for,
So
he's not feeling well,
So
so.
the frames, budget reduction, or the lack of frames, I should.
Scott, you never had got 8 rings.
Aaron, thank you so much. Thank you. Heather, thank you. Scott, thank you, sir.
Mom, I just noticed my socks would match your tie.
Yes. And for some reason, I had 2 in here for Matt. One from last year, one from last
Thanks, timely.
year. Kyle, thank you so much. Rebecca, thank you. Chad, thank you. I do appreciate everything you guys do. Last night was an example of that. I thought we had a really good meeting last night. Very good meeting. With that, we'll move into the administrative part of it, and first we have the guidance and counseling report, and I have Ms. Thornborough going to present that information.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so.
Can you come up here so the camera can see you?
Okay. Stay back here. Okay, so last year in the counseling program, we had 3 goals that we worked on. We work on assisting students with academic development, career development, and personal and social development. So our first goal in academic development, it was addressed by continuing to work toward meeting the needs of students and working on focus on grades, attendance, behavior, and test-taking skills. And we met that on the back. We met that goal. And by approximately 1,100, performing 1,100 classroom guidance lessons, over 30 student service support programs are available, and individual and group counseling on a variety of topics listed there. And some things that we are changing in academic development at the high school, we are adding eye care teams. This is to help students who are struggling academically. And we are also implementing a homework lab that's going to be during advisory time, and we're just getting started on that. And the junior high has implemented a pre-game warm-up, and this is a before-school tutoring program. And they have also had each student create a Google website that's tied to their SR6 account. And this way the students can use it starting in junior high all the way through high school. And it'll help them create an academic resume and an ICAP, which is the new name for personal plan of study. I almost forgot that name. So it was personal plan of study that we create where students plan out their whole 4 years of high school. Now it's called an ICAP. They're adding the career in there. So we're hoping that'll help our students. Our second goal in the career development, this is addressed through career activities and documentation of points earned on the Standard 3 Indicator 5 through 6 for college and career readiness. So we do classroom lessons, college fairs, Missouri Connections. We have a college advisor at the high school, and we are also showing success in this area. Based on MSIT 5 of College and Career Readiness Standard, we are on target in that career area. And some changes that were made this past year, at the high school, we decided to have a senior night where all the parents and students were able to come, and we gave them pretty much a calendar for the whole senior year and how that would work, or what things they need to do for this year. And then the junior high, I also put the Google websites underneath this because it also addresses career on the Google websites that the students created. And then our third goal of personal and social development, this is addressed through guidance activities as well as counseling, consultation, referrals, and we are having success in this area, and we're basing this off of each year we do a guidance program evaluation, a survey for our parents, teachers, and students to complete, and that indicated that 87% of those surveyed rated the guidance program as excellent or good. Some changes that are being made in this area to improve is Southeast Elementary has added a Great Kindness Challenge that will take place this month. And Matthews and Lee Hunter Elementary have implemented a check-in, check-out, and social skills group. And they're also recognizing students for the character of the month to foster personal and social development. And I also fit where underneath this, the high school is having eye care teams where a student is being mentored by one of their teachers to kind of help them if they're struggling with grades or anything else. So that's our goals that we worked on. We're just going to continue working on those same 3 goals this next, or 17-18 school year. I've also, so last year when I met in front of you or presented in front of you, I talked about how we were going to start documenting our mental health incidences, and we started doing time task analysis. We also completed an IIR as our whole counseling group, and I'd like to go over those results with you. That's the next report on there. And an IIR is what DESE, this comes from DESE, and it is a school counseling program management tool designed to assess implementation of our school's counseling program. And it's basically to help us determine our areas of strength and our weakness areas, our areas that we need to improve on. So on the first page, you can see the 5 elements included in the the comprehensive school counseling program: program foundation, system support, school counseling curriculum, individual student planning, and responsive services. And you can see our percentage in each of those areas. And then at the bottom, our completed IIR, we are moderately implemented at only 76%. To improve that, they say 90% would be a fully implemented counseling program, and maybe our goal for this next year would be to reach 80%, which would be mostly. And so just below that chart, I've just kind of listed what each program foundation, what is underneath that, what is underneath system support, what each area consists of in our program.
Hey, Kim?
Yes.
The check-in, check-out at Lee Hunter and Matthews?
You know? Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's a program that was developed as like the next step in the process of implementing PBIS, which is the program that's used in order to track minor and major behavior discipline, like classroom referrals and office referrals, and also to help diminish the problem behaviors and build on the positive and increase the positive behaviors. But check in, check out involves choosing students who are, they call it at a tier 2, and it's a way that it's similar to what you were saying, I think, about like your mentoring program,
Yeah.
because the students meet with a teacher on a daily basis. Like I meet with a 3rd grader that I didn't even have him, but I have his sister this year, and he comes to me in the morning, and I just, basically talk to him for a few, maybe not even a minute. Sometimes it's less than that, and I just get he has a page that he takes with him throughout the day to the different subjects that he goes to, or even special class. And on the page, it'll have a place where the teacher can rate his, the 4 parts of the PAWS, which are prompt, prepared, act responsibly, work hard, play safe, and show respect. So the teacher, whoever the teacher is for each subject, just rates a 3, 2, or 1 in each of those categories. And then at the end of the day, he comes back to me, and I see how he's done, and the teacher notates like positive things that he's done through the day. And then I fill out a sheet that looks similar to that, but it goes home to parents each day to let them know, what kind of day he's had. And so they can earn rewards, and it's just a way for them to have some positive feedback from another adult outside of their home, and something that's school related that, gives them positive feedback like that. So it's been good. I think we've seen success with it so far. We just implemented it like November, I think, so maybe the end of
Pretty new.
October.
Okay.
The similar program at the junior high has been going on for several years.
Yes, we have
It's
check
been
and
real
check out.
successful too, but it's not so much to get the information to the parents, as just to work with that child.
Mhm.
Well, I guess we're carrying that over to the high school now. So, not sure, and we just started like December, right? So, we'll see how that goes. Okay. On the next page, what I did is I just kind of gave you the data of our time task analysis. So for the past year, twice a month, the counselors have all documented what they do. We do 2 days a month, and we document what we do every 15 minutes of our day. And this comes from DESE also. We put this into 5 different categories. GC is guidance curriculum, ISP is individual student planning, responsive services, RS, SS is student system support, and NG is non-guidance. And this was just a snapshot of our months and how we spend our time. And so you can see our percentage K through 4, and then what DESE recommends. You can see what 5 through 8 percentage is, and then what DESE recommends, 9 through 12. And then I have the whole district, and if you notice, we're not quite where DESE wants us to be on spending our time. The biggest barrier is non-guidance, that we spend a lot of time doing a lot of things that are not related to our job, that we're not supposed to be doing. So DESE wants us to be 0% non-guidance, and we're at 28.
Can you give us examples of those?
Special education, 504 plans, ELL plans, testing, paperwork, reading improvement plans,
When you
Eagle
say special
testing.
education, would this be IEP?
Mhm. Sitting in on IEP
Parents.
meetings, we take notes in IEP meetings. A lot of us do, well, we all do the referral paperwork, screening forms.
DESE doesn't think you need to be doing that, or do they
It's-
categorize it differently?
It's non-guidance. It's not something that a counselor should be doing. I mean, if I go to a lot of the counselors meeting around the area, I guess you say, and talk to a lot of counselors from other schools, and I mean, Cape counselors do not do any special ed. I think our district counselors probably do more than other area counselors do in special ed.
Do we need to have counselors designated to assist with special ed? What do you
Well, it
think we
would
need to
probably
do?
require more special services team members. That's what Cape has. They have more special service team members.
And we got a lot of that funding cut back last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
So
We are working with the special services team to kind of try to decrease our spend. A lot of our referral forms, the screening forms are now kind of digitally, where we can just send them straight to the teachers, and the teachers can fill them out and submit them straight back to the special services team, so that kind of cuts us, I think it cuts us out of a little bit of it, where we were having to get it all together, send it out to the teachers. Cuts us out a little bit. So we are working on that. Every meeting we've had this year, we've kind of talked about ways to decrease our special ed. I mean, it's higher. I mean, it's higher percentage at the elementary, and because of all their referrals, and the junior high, 5th and 6th grade, their counselors say they have a lot of special ed. The older you get, the less we have. So
It's something we probably need to look at and get some input into how we can restructure and move some staff around. So.
yes, it would help, I mean, us, because of all of our other responsibilities that we are trying to deal with and work with. And I can tell you back, I guess it's been 10 years that we've had the special services team. And before that, I mean, I'd say, 95% of my time was on special ed. All I did was evaluation reports and testing. And then when the special services team came, it decreased a lot. And I can say at the high school, if we still had to do as much special ed as we used to, we wouldn't have been able to create our freshman transition program, ACT Blitz, just the programs that we've been able to implement at the high school. We wouldn't have been able to do that if we'd had all the special ed along with it. So it's helped us. Now, I think our elementary is where it really they need some help.
Well, this is good information for us to know.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the twice per month doing that analysis, is that fairly getting a 2-day snapshot? Is that fair that you feel like it would extrapolate across the entire month, or is it, what's your thought on that?
Yeah, I mean,
we could increase it to once a week, but it's pretty fair. I mean, we definitely have those consistencies throughout our month. And one day we'll have more special ed, and the next day we won't have any. So
yeah.
it's a pretty good average on that.
I think kindergarten, crazy with special ed, elementary crazy with special ed. 5th and 6th grade, if you talk to Tanya Sparling, she has a ton of special ed that she's dealing with over there. And it just you can't get into the classroom to do, you can't do the guidance curriculum. You can't do small groups. I know that they used to have some small groups at 5th and 6th grade, and stuff that we're trained to do, that we want to do, it's hard to get in the classroom to do that.
So in the 9 to 12 range, is Miss Alsop's time included in this, the career and tech on this as well?
Yeah. Alt school is probably on there only for K through 12 because she's all grades over there too. So, but high school, she's Miss Alsop is in this.
Okay. Now is she involved in the special ed? She's not really.
She doesn't have any. No, and alt school doesn't either. What?
Yes, we do.
Well, what?
We don't do,
Yeah.
we got, she helps our special ed kids, their reading tests, things like that need to be done. We don't do the,
IEP.
yes. The
Other
IEPs are handled at their home school or at the high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she works a lot with our special ed kids.
Yeah, I think typically when we think of guidance counselors, you think of them in the main schools and not so much career tech.
We didn't have our teams come over from other schools to sending schools. And we've had IEP meetings with other sending school kids with their IEP teams. They come to us
Oh, is that right? So they come to here, huh?
to make sure, not always when it needs to be, when it needs to happen, it does. Mayor will go to them if they need to be.
We especially like having Miss Alsop in the IEP meetings when they're going into the 11th grade. That's whenever they get a chance to go to those 3-hour and 2-hour blocks. So we love having her there for input because a lot of times parents are kind of confused on what the offerings are. So it's great to have her at the meetings.
Very good.
We also collected the mental health data, and that's the next part on here. So for a year now, we've been every time documenting as much as you can. If you forget, you forget, but as much as you can, documenting your mental health incidences when you talk to a student who just really, you feel like, needs just more than what our realm of training is. And so you can see we've had 691 reports of mental health incidences. Anxiety and depression is our highest one, 59.2%. And the junior high counselors pointed out, safety is at 19 and threat is at 4.9. Cutting is really out of control, especially at the junior high age. And even though it may say, 19% or 4.9, they may spend 2 to 3 hours of their day just dealing with one student on cutting. And that is another, keeping us from getting into the classroom and doing things like that too. Just spending time with students who need that. So,
We've seen a large increase in mental health issues.
What grade, do you have what ages, what grades are
I
hit
can
most with these areas?
I have it on my Google form. I didn't put it on here though, that I could get that information if you needed me to.
Well, my guess would be it's really gonna be hit hard at the junior high age. Some
Yeah.
maybe
Ninth
at
grade.
the sixth and then
I
high
know
school.
Tricia Kiefer announced at our last counselors meeting that high school had the most hotline calls. We have had the biggest number of hotline calls out of all the other schools. But I would say junior high is probably 5th and 6th grade, 7th and 8th grade big on this. But I can actually add that if I needed to next year.
I bet some of it's gonna depend on the gender too.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
Okay.
Is that data you're already collecting,
Yeah, we've already got it. I just didn't.
like across buildings, gender grades?
Yeah, when they put it in what building they're in and who they are.
Not by gender.
Yeah, well, yeah, not by gender. We don't do that. I guess. No, sorry, we don't do that. I was more thinking of the building and the age group. We could probably add that too. Yeah. So basically, our evaluation of our results on the last page, I kind of took our IIR and from our strengths on that, responsive services, which is dealing with students and their behaviors and mental health, and that's our strength. System support, and just completing the time task analysis, and school counseling curriculum were our strengths from the IIR. So definitely our weaknesses on here, and that was anything that we scored below a 2 on, and that was our program foundation. We are working on revising our guidance and counseling manual right now. We didn't realize when I got to looking at it, it had been reviewed and revised in a few years. So that's something that will improve our our guidance and counseling program for next year. It's just getting it up to where it needs to be. And system support, definitely reducing our barriers to implementation or non-guidance. And then we're working on having relevant PD activities for our job. The last in-service, we were allowed to meet as a counseling group, and that's when we worked on the IIR, and we're wanting to do more things like that in our counseling group, and maybe bring in Boot Hill Counseling to help us with some of the mental health issues that we're having and things like that.
Would it not be very beneficial drilling down, that mental health data, collecting the gender, all those things, to would that help formulate some preventative, kind of proactive approaches to some of these areas? Like if you know that cutting at junior high, or that's showing up in my safety among 7th grade girls or whatever, would that data help you kind of back out of that and go, maybe we ought to do some sort of proactive education or something?
Getting into the classroom or having small groups, are you talking about stuff
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, where you isolate,
Yes.
like, this is an issue
yes,
that we're seeing that's prevalent more here.
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's our data. We're wanting to use this data, to kind of help us go in the direction we can go to help, create programs like that and do more things.
Well, even anxiety and depression, I mean, is it among seniors, anxiety that's really isolated toward career, life choice, things, you know what I mean? Can you drill down into like, what are anxiety, what is, a senior's anxiety is different than a seventh grader or maybe a sixth grader who's getting ready to transition to the junior high, or, I just think that there'd be some good data that would.
A lot of the anxiety and depression is familial based.
Mm.
So they're coming to school traumatized and having to deal with all these things from their family situations. That's kind of where that whole traumatized school came into play, because we're having students that are coming in with just all sorts of issues. And to try to help them with coping skills would be amazing.
Are y'all doing, so I see the trauma-informed approach, are you doing things to educate classroom teachers on being trauma-informed and?
I think it just started this year, so I think we've had some counselors go to some trainings. I think they might have presented, did they present it?
I'm sorry.
Did they present on the trauma base?
I don't think we did at the carousel, but I know we've had some in buildings.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Mr. Williams and Mrs. Hartzog have had training, and we've had some counselors too. So it's kind of just in the beginning stages of the proceeding. I think we're in the information gathering stage about it now more than anything else. It's pretty fascinating, to be honest, though it does hit exactly what you two were talking about.
Yes, it does relate. And I think seniors, when I talk to seniors, they, a lot of the seniors I talk to, they don't even live with their parents. So they're paying bills and living on their own. So
Trauma-informed is even in like recovery and all that stuff is kind of big.
Let's see. We're working on just being included in maybe more leadership committee meetings and increased direct services. Right now, our direct services for responsive services, individual planning, and guidance and counseling is currently at 48%. I just took our time task analysis data and added those 3 percentages, and our goal for what DESE wants us to be is 80%. And that's just decreasing our non-guidance, to increase those areas. And then updating our school counseling curriculum, and that's something that we're going to work on doing. And my last one, I just have some action plans, things that we're going to continue to do, things that we're going to do. We're going to continue to do our mental health data. We're going to continue to do time task analysis. And we're going to do another IIR in a year to see if any of the things we've done, because we're planning on meeting, I think, at the next in-service to try to get some action plans going. And I think that's it.
Any questions for Ms. Thornborough? Thank you, Kim.
Thank you.
Next, we have the law system. Ms. Schott and Ms. Thornborough are going to discuss this, and this is something we kind of touched upon a little bit last time, but I'll let them go ahead and present it.
All right, so Ms. Schott and I attended the Missouri School Counselors Association. Almost all the counselors in Missouri attend this back in November. And this is a topic that's been going around for a few years. And they actually had a session on it, so we both went. And we've been interested in this topic, moving from class rank to the law graduation system. And this session there was probably 50, 60, bunch of counselors in there talking about what they have done. A lot of schools have switched to the lodge system, Missouri schools, and there's some in Illinois. I think just today I read an article about Kankakee High School. Illinois just switched to the lodge system. And we came back, met with our administrators, and we decided that we'd like to come present this to you guys. The goals of the lodge graduation system is to provide recognition to more of our outstanding seniors. It's also to provide a more level playing field for students when applying to college and scholarships. So you take the class rank off of the transcript. When you send it into colleges, they may be eligible for more scholarships from the colleges. And that's a lot of what these counselors, they've done a lot of research, the ones that we attended in this meeting. And one counselor had done a research where she did back over the past few years, and like 1 year, 50 more seniors may have gotten more scholarship money from the zoo or somewhere like that. So taking off the class rank, they're more evenly compared with the other students. And this does not eliminate valedictorian and salutatorian. And we would like to start this with the class of 2019. And so Ms. Schott is going to kind of explain it a little more to you.
You all been to higher ed and are very familiar with it. Basically, it's just like the university system. You've got your summa cum laude, which is your 4.25 and above GPA. Then you have your magna cum laude, which is a 4.0 to a 4.24. Then you have your cum laude, which is a 3.75 to a 3.99. A little additional thing that we would like to do is we would like to implement the honors with distinctions, or honors distinctions. There are 3 different levels. You have your highest honors, with high honors, with honors, and with distinction. And the reason for that, that recognizes those students who take the more rigorous course load. So if you're going to have a student that's going to take more AP and honor classes, that recognizes those students. The good thing about this is that a student can take a class of their interest and still qualify for a LOD system. So if you have an art student who wants to do all the art and are not honors or AP, as we all know, they can qualify for a LOD system designation. Now, they won't qualify with the distinctions because they don't have those AP and honors classes. So there are 2 different levels. So there's the LOD system with the honors. We want to reward, again, those students who take those rigorous levels. That's why we're looking at the distinctions. Some of the possibilities for SHS LOD system, we would continue again with the valedictorian salutatorian, so we're not eliminating that. We would have different color of stoles for different levels. So you'd have maybe a gold, silver, bronze, and then different color medals or different symbols on the medal for those distinctions. So you'd have your stole, and then you'd have your medal. So those students would get a medal. We would keep the Bulldog Honor Roll, and our diplomas would have special seals. So maybe a gold seal would be on the diploma. This would eliminate the top 10%. So going into that system.
Some pros to implementing, students would be driven to maybe earn an honor status. So if they're sitting at like the 3.74, you know, and they think, oh, I can get a stole, I can get recognized at graduation. If I get a 3.75, they maybe work harder if they were sitting at that bubble there. Research shows that colleges may consider applicants more individually when class rank is not a factor. The students are competing with themselves. They're not competing with their classmates. They're not wishing someone, and we hear this all the time, wish somebody would drop out of the class so I can move up in class rank. There's more opportunities for recognition of high-performing class students. So, you know, we have lots of high-performing students. 4.44 is our highest GPA, or 4.45. And so if you're one of those students who's worked really hard and taken all these courses, you know, you're at a 4.43, you know, you maybe could get, if you're not valedictorian or salutatorian, you can get some recognition at graduation. And just some opportunity for varied coursework. Students can take courses that help them explore their future careers, besides just focusing on what courses I need to take to get me to the top of the class. Which this kind of leads to another topic we've been discussing at the high school, which would be just moving to the meeting Missouri graduation criteria. With that, students can, if you Missouri graduation criteria, students can just, you know, they can take more dual credit, take more early college credit courses, or they can take, they may look at taking more something focused on their career.
I do want to read a little excerpt for you before we finish. This is from a student. While giving a somber valedictorian speech, a student shared her regrets with playing the game, when in school. She only took classes with weighted GPAs to ensure the highest possible cumulative GPA. She said that a student gets penalized for learning about something they are interested in, and isn't that the purpose of education? We are penalizing students for exploring their interests. High school should be about finding your interest and what you're good at, instead of waiting till college and spending lots of money to figure it all out. And this is from a student who is valedictorian. So she had a different perspective. Although she played the game and won, she wishes she would have had more time in those classes that she was really interested in. Okay, we're excited about this, but she can't tell.
Go ahead.
Question.
Mm-hmm.
Not having any kids that are getting close to that age, going into college, are there colleges or universities that would require or want to see a class rank, or are there gonna be some places that it would be harmful to?
They don't really use the class rank.
And if they do have it on their application, you just put 0 of 0. That means basically there is no class rank. That's how that's distinguished on that application.
And so it's not a negative to any of them you know of.
And if there is like I'm trying to think, there might have been one student that applied to Duke or North Carolina, I'm trying to think. And it may have said he got a scholarship for being number 1 or, we can still get that information if needed.
If it had to be there, you're going to know.
We
You're just
wouldn't
not
say, no, we're
using
not giving you
it
that.
for
yes.
recognition.
Mhm. Yeah.
So what's the major disadvantage? You listed a couple of advantages. It's just that you don't have a class rank if you're number 3 out of
Yeah.
whatever.
A lot of times this is just the way people are used to it. You know, a lot of times they're going for that top 10, but if you look at it as a big picture, you're still trying for a higher level, but you're competing against yourself. So it's kind of a mindset that we would have to overcome. You know, well, my student's in the top 10. It's not going to be so much that anymore. It's going to be more of my student's going to be magna cum laude, my student's going to be summa cum laude. So it's going to be a mindset that we'll have to overcome. I see that to be the biggest disadvantage.
Mhm.
But as
Yeah.
far as our students going to college, there's
Well,
no disadvantage.
And when they said that they could get more scholarship money possibly, I was like, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Because-
I noticed what you did with Jeffrey's class.
Huh? Yeah.
We wish we could start with this class, but they're kind of already in the ballgame of.
So is there any schools locally that are doing this?
Notre Dame does this, they've done it for years. Some other schools you might recognize, West Platte, St. Charles, Orchard Farm, Rockwood, Wentzville, Smithville, not heard of that? And
Smithfield,
yeah.
it's a Smithfield cotton.
Yeah. And I know there, in the presentation they did, there were several high schools that are in the process of what we're doing. They're interested in it, and I kind of think after that presentation, there's probably a lot of schools doing what we're doing right now.
I mean, you know, like the top 10% is, there's one ceremony that recognizes them. I guess if somebody wanted to have a separate recognition of, you know, everybody with distinction, and that you could still do that.
We've discussed doing something. We haven't come up with what we would do yet, because you really wouldn't recognize any, I don't know, because you can't, because their final GPA is not till, you know, the last day of their senior year, so therefore you're not.
And we could
I don't
do.
know.
You're still doing the honor roll.
We're still
Yeah.
Bulldog honor roll. I mean, there could be something like recognition, like we do at graduation, everybody who is a magna cum laude, please stand up.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like a
You're
dinner.
kind of talking like the old top 10 banquet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Correct.
yeah.
Which
like
was,
for-
really
on
a-
Senior skip weekend, where nobody goes to Friday.
Yeah. But that event, and we kind of discussed this, we need to have some type of recognition for our kids.
Kind of a prediction, I guess.
Well, because we have a lot of recognition, but, you know, for other things, I think we need to key in on our academic side too, and still have some type of event, some nice event for our folks.
How can,
That's the
I'm
main point.
confused on how can this help a kid get into college more? Because, I mean, your grade point average is your grade point average, whether or not you're in the top 10%, whether or not you're summa cum laude, I mean, whatever you want to classify it. If you have a 4.25, whatever you're classified at it is what it is. So how classifying a kid as this is going to help them? I don't get
I had a
that.
really hard time with that too,
Yeah.
trying to understand, okay, well, what's the difference? Because, go ahead.
Well, if we use class rank, that's what the colleges are going to look at.
But we don't have to report class rank, right?
Right.
You're right, but that's what we're wanting to go to, because right now that's what we do.
But I mean, okay, so I'm just saying, I don't understand how classifying a grade point average helps a child get into college more.
It's more of
Easier.
the scholarships too. They're going to be on a level playing field on scholarships than it is with admission into college.
But are you gonna change how you get your grading system? Because, I mean, if you put, like I said, if you have on your transcript that I have a 4.2, whether or not you have a class rank, or whether or not you have the classification of summa cum laude, whatever, it's still a 4.2. So how does that help you? How is that an advantage?
If we leave off the class rank, then that student is going to be judged off of that 4.25 with all other students. Now, if we have a class rank on our transcript, which we do right now, then they look at that because they want to see, well, where does that student fall within that class? Well, we have tons of super smart kids that might be number 27
I
or
said,
28.
my daughter graduated with like a high 4 GPA, but she was probably certainly was in the top 10.
Right.
But, you know, she fell down into like the 18 to 20, I think.
And we have those that are just like right there on the edge and they don't get into top.
And colleges really recognize this laud system because they use it and they can identify with that. I guess you.
Well, it's more
That would
of
be one
taking
way to
away
help.
class rank, puts them more on a level playing field with other students. Like, you know, if you're number 2 in our class out of 200, where you're 2 out of 25, you know, there's, you know, where our students, I guarantee, have taken a more rigorous curriculum than the student maybe at a, you know, smaller school. I'm just gonna.
I can
Yeah.
give you a situation I think that might help a little bit too. If you have a student that's in the top 10% right now, so their class rank puts them in the top 10%, through no fault of their own, if you have 4 or 5 students that withdraw, so our number of students attending in the senior class falls, they might fall in the top 10% and didn't do anything or didn't have any decrease in grades or anything else.
Yeah.
With this system, if they meet that minimum criteria, they're going to get that distinction, that classification, regardless of their class rank.
Yeah.
So if we have 5 students that meet an area, they'll meet it, but if we have 30 that meet it, they're all going to meet it too, regardless of their class rank. I don't know if that helps or not, but that was what kind of
I understand about, I mean, I get the fact that you're talking about, I mean, you're basically talking about doing away with class rank. You want to take that, I mean, which we can take that off the transcript if it's going to help kids get into college.
And I think the main
And you're-
thing is it will help with the scholarships because of instead, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I mean, I understand what you're saying, I'm just saying it's going to help kids get into college. I don't understand how changing the classification system, if you have a grade point
Same
average.
scholarships, not getting into college.
Or scholarships, if you have a grade point average, does it go off of, are there scholarships that,
A lot of them look at the percentage, like if you're in the top 10 or top 20%, am I correct? That's what I
They'll look at
understand.
that first, and then they'll go to the GPA. But if we don't report that, then they just go straight to the
Yeah.
GPA.
so why are we reporting it?
Well, if we
It's
have
just
it,
historically.
That's what we've done.
I mean, but
historic.
if it helps kids get a scholarship, then why
I
would
think we have to have one or the other when we have to have some
why
way
would you not
to-
just report grade point average?
I don't know.
Well, we report class rank, we can have top 10% banquet. You know, so we can recognize our top students in the class, so that's
And
what
that's
we.
another purpose of
Yeah.
doing that cum laude system, is to recognize those students. We do want to recognize them academically, because we have some great kids that are doing great things.
When you explain too, the choices that the kids are making and what classes they're gonna take and what they may really love to do, they then get to express themselves and take those classes that are more meaningful for their future.
Yeah.
Because this system, you say, supports that kind of thinking as opposed to, I need 1 more point 10, you know, and so I better take this class instead of this class. So it kind of directs the
Yeah.
thought process.
So here's, I think this is where I'm confused, okay?
It's okay.
Each class, if you're in honors or AP or just regular.
CP or grade level,
Right,
yeah.
grade level. It's weighted differently, correct? Okay. With either system, class rank or the LAUD system, are the classes gonna stay the same weighted
Yes,
Yes.
average
yes,
or weighted system, whatever you call it?
yes.
Okay, so I understand that if you take art, let's say I'm really interested in art, okay? Is there an honors art,
No,
There's
Okay.
CP art,
in grade level.
CP and grade level? So if you do the LAUD system, and I'm really interested in art, are you gonna make the grading, are you gonna do an honors art to make me want to go take that so I can get points to get the laud status that I want? I'm just confused of, how is that gonna help my grade point average or make me take the classes that I want if whichever system we use, I'm still gonna get the same result? You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, I do see what you're saying.
I think sometimes it's not a good, I understand what you're saying.
Because if I
Sometimes they
if
want
I
a
like
higher
art,
GPA,
if I really
correct.
like art,
Uh-huh.
okay, and I can't get my honors,
Mhm.
I can't get honors points by taking art. So I'm gonna say, okay, if we're doing class rank, so instead of doing art, I'm gonna do this class that I can take in honors to up my grade, isn't gonna be the same thing in the laud system? Because if I don't have that certain grade point average, I'm not gonna get the status that I want.
And I don't want to put words in your mouth. What I'm hearing you say with regard to that is you're only talking about 2 or 3 kids because they're fighting for valedictorian.
Would it not be, if you're gonna
If
go
you're
Boston,
seven-
wouldn't it be better to remove a valedictorian and so forth?
If you're 7th in class, whether you have
No.
yeah,
no.
it's not gonna matter. You're still gonna have a high grade point, and you're not gonna be salutatorian or valedictorian.
Sometimes that distinction between a class rank is 1,000th of a point.
Right.
So that's the case where the kids are going to take those, that's where I'm not gonna take art, I'm gonna take this so I don't lose my rank because I wanna take that AP or dual credit class to do that. With this, it may be a slightly lower GPA because they took art, but if they do well in the class, they're still gonna meet that level.
Well,
And they'll get ready.
I understand what you're saying, that's definitely right, but
And they can get recognized at graduation, you
Correct.
know, for working hard still. You're still
so
taking.
some of these kids that don't take choir or don't take band or orchestra because they wanna go for the higher GPAs, in this case, they'd be able to stay in with those courses.
And we do see that.
Especially, I won't go there,
A
but
lot. We see a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we have a lot of students that this will.
So you're gonna have like if you wanted to get summa cum laude, there's gonna be like a bottom grade point average and a top. So if you're anywhere in that,
We can kind of come up with what we want, but we started with 4.25 or higher for the highest, 4.0 to 4.24 for magnet. So it would be summa, then magnet with 4.0, and then 3.75 would be cum. So anybody 3.75 or higher.
so that's what would give the kids the ability
Yeah.
to, if you wanted to take art instead of whatever,
correct.
then you have those points to play with as far as your grade point average to be able, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at is.
Okay. I'm glad we had extra breaks going
I'm
here.
sorry, but yeah.
Yeah, and you know, unless you're right on the edge, let's say you're the 3.8 and you take art or CP art or whatever, it's probably not going to knock you out of cum laude. Anyway.
It would have to be
So-
multiple instances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and again, like Kim just said, this is a system, the 4.25, we kind of looked at our population to determine what that would look like. But if that's not numbers that you all like, then we can make adjustments. This was just a suggestion.
I went through the last 5 years of data of GPAs and class ranks, and it would go from us recognizing 18 or 19 top 10% to 40 students that meet that 4 point, or 3.75 or higher. Yeah, it would be
What's
double.
the GPA for like National Honor Society?
3.5.
So are you gonna have, like, I know, like you have the top 10 banquet, so will you have a banquet every year? So that we're not
That's kind of what we were
classifying.
That's what she was talking about.
Talking about
You
earlier.
don't get your distinction until the day you grad, or the day.
But we
Right.
need to have some type of academic reception or honor
We haven't come up with that.
assembly or something for our kids.
I'm like, are you gonna have like, if you have a 3.5, or I'm just throwing out a number, or better, we're gonna have a reception for you tonight, or,
We can do,
I mean, I'm just asking, is
we
that,
can
that's
do
a
something like
possibility.
that,
instead
yes.
of making a child wait for 4 years to ever get recognized for academics, because we recognize sports
Every year.
every year.
And we recognize top 10% every year.
Yes.
But I'm saying we're gonna take
But-
that away.
Yeah, no, they're saying they're gonna try to come up with something to replace it.
Heather, I think this discussion is what we had too, and I don't want to take that away because I think we need to have something that does recognize our academics. If we're going to do away basically with the top 10, we need to have something.
We
in
could
place.
have some
Yeah,
kind of
I agree.
reception, 3.75 or higher this
Yeah.
year is recognized somehow.
But as far as
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
done, that's
Yeah.
something on.
It's just informational now, we're not technically voting on anything.
I'm just trying to get information of
Yeah.
if you do this, what's gonna happen if this is what you choose to do,
We
then,
still want to recognize them somehow.
yeah.
We just haven't got that far yet.
Just kind of bring us in a loop, the way I,
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? I'm sorry, y'all, I didn't mean to rush you.
You're fine.
So I want to follow up on Chad's question on the National Honor Society. You said it takes a 3.5. Do you not also have to be in a certain top percentile of your class for that too?
The other, you get more points if you're, it has it split into 1 through whatever, I can't remember what it is. You get more points.
You have to be in so many clubs and stuff.
Activities.
You get more
It's a
points for
chart,
being like
like
number
your
1 through
class
11,
ranking
so
is
I have
not
to.
Grade point average
factor.
does not get you a National Honor
Well, I
Society.
Start
know
off
it's
with
not
a 3
the
point, whoever has a
same,
3.5 gets an application.
3.5, and
Yes.
so it, but it doesn't have to be a certain percentage of your class rank, like top 10%.
3.5.
Okay.
I'd probably have to look at changing something on there eventually if we did something like this, so.
Okay.
If we did away with class rank.
Yeah, so,
Because you can get more points for being like class number 1 through 11, and I think, and then 12 through 20 or something like that.
But you could still figure that.
You can give
Yeah,
them points
so,
based
I mean,
upon
yeah,
their
we
law,
don't
where they
use
fall in
that.
the law system.
Yeah.
In the National
Yeah.
Honor Society purposes.
Is there a certain number of kids that you can only allow into National Honor Society per?
Once we get the number of students who meet the points, then it's, there's a certain percentage of the class, I can't think of it right now, that you can only take,
Gotcha.
yeah.
So, my other concern is, I think getting it out to the class of 2019, there's not much time. How are you gonna educate the parents? Because we've had a lot of questions here, we spent a lot of time on this. We don't have anything in
Yeah.
front to go back and share with the people that we represent in the community to explain it, so.
We probably have a parent
It's on you
meeting.
and the administration. How
Yeah.
are you gonna educate the people in that short
We
of a
probably send
time?
out our emails that we send out as far as inviting people to a meeting to educate everyone on that, so.
So are we going to ask for input? Are we going to tell them, this is the system that the board has chosen to adopt? Have you thought that far ahead as to
I
how?
think the way that they're presenting is what they would like to do. And as far as input, it's coming from you all.
Well, and
I
then
think we
even,
need to get input, because I think there's
The
gonna be a lot of
elementary-
people that will be,
we're changing kind of the system in elementary, and you're starting that with the class and kind of progressively,
standards-based.
yeah, going to standards-based, you're starting at a, again, I don't know that that's the answer, but would it not be more beneficial to start with a incoming freshman class, that from the beginning, they're working through that?
I think the big thing is that takes scholarships away from that class in 2019, or in further classes. I think the most important thing is to help our students get as much money as they possibly can for college as soon as possible. So if we would, then that's a logical way to go, is to start with the next freshman class, but I don't want to prevent anybody from getting money for school.
and I think that's what I don't understand. I don't understand how this system can help. Is it just a word on an application of
It's
summa
that
cum laude?
class rank.
Can you not just take that off?
We can take it out.
I mean, can you not just take that off and not submit that anymore starting this year?
Well, the question asked though, does your school report class rank? So if we report class rank, they're gonna have to, of course, say yes. So if we get away from the class rank system, then they can honestly say, no, we don't do it. That's the big thing right there. So it's a specific question on applications. Does your school report class rank? Yes or no? And then they ask you what you are. But if you don't report it, then they just put 0, 0. That's how you fill it out. My biggest thing is helping these students get the funds for school. And I want them to all be on the same playing field as everybody else. So if that class rank is taking them away from a scholarship, I would like to see a go away.
So are you saying if you don't report class rank, you have to have something in place of that, like the LOD system?
Just GPA.
Mhm.
And we,
GPA?
GPA, but the law system is for us to recognize our top rate students.
So why don't we just, until this is all done, just quit with the class rank and just do a great GPA?
I don't think, would they not, I don't know, I'm
Still
just
want to
asking.
recognize the students.
Yeah, would they have an opportunity for scholarships without one or the other? Would they have to have, if they just had a GPA, would they be eligible for scholarships? I mean,
That's what the state's done. The law system is more our recognition system for us to do for our students.
Let me ask you this, do you have any scholarships that are based just on class rank? So it wouldn't matter that we quit reporting class rank, we could just report GPA and we could
And-
still.
In our staff meeting we had, when we were talking to the teachers about it in our building, Rick Justice, who is the Kiwanis, sits on this Kiwanis scholarship, he said that would help them doing away with class rank on their scholarship applications.
You talk about input, they did present it to the high school and SCTC staff for input.
Well, obviously, based on last night, everybody was excited about that potential, yeah, that's what I gathered.
And we didn't have any, everybody was on board for it.
I mean, some of it's gotten out to the community because I had a person contact me and had them contact you about it. So, I mean, it's filtering out. I guess I'd be interested in knowing what some of the other schools did prior to their board taking action
I
on it.
found, that's kind of why, they're an implementation of the law system, and they created a FAQ and stuff, so that's kind of what I was improving.
Well,
This particular one did do away with
you know,
the,
you look back at
Sal.
our board history and we've been chastised because we put stuff out and not notify the public. And we've got something new that is gonna rock some people's worlds. Whether it's good or bad, it's gonna rock people's world. A lot of it is because of the understanding of it. It's gonna be hard for people to grasp. I mean, we can talk 20 minutes on it, at least.
Well, it took me forever to get what you're saying.
Well, to be
You know,
fair,
particularly
there's
kids
still
like
two,
3 or
so
4
I'm a counselor.
is gonna end the year and not know where he's at.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
Well, the person that presented this presentation at our MSCA meeting, she really laid out what exactly they did. They had a plus minus delta current ranking system, they had a reading reflection, review of research and data. So she, basically, we could use this template as a way to bring people in to discuss it. And I think it was mostly, hold on, look at this.
When is your next meeting with the parents?
It'll be our enrollment meeting in February.
Which is February?
Mhm.
I think if what I'm hearing correctly from the board is you need to have one of those meetings. And you need to discuss it with those people and you need to gather their input.
Okay.
So we could use this format, because it's kind of already laid out. And they
Do
had
you
great
wanna-
success.
Do we present it how we just, what our the ideas that we've got here tonight?
Well, I don't know. I mean, you should
Or, I don't know.
inform the community or the parents.
I would think you would put it in the format that you would put if you were presenting it to the board for adoption. And get their read.
But we have something in front of them that they can look at.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That, yeah.
Because
Well,
sometimes
it's,
it's,
and I think just that part about still recognizing every year the students who are striving to do well, that would be an important part that you'd want to, I think, say, we are going to be recognizing,
Yeah.
you know, the students that are doing well
Okay.
every year still.
Okay.
And some, I think that
Yeah, that would help.
there, actually though, there has been some discussion about not doing freshman class. And I'm a freshman counselor, so I protect my children there, but you only have one semester of grades, and usually it's just a bust on some of them when they're really great students. So possibly maybe just doing the recognition for sophomores, juniors, and seniors, because basing ceremony on one semester is not a real picture of that
Isn't that what it
student.
used to be though?
That's what we've done.
Top 10%, it was 10 to 12.
No, oh, I don't know if it used to be, I don't.
Well, yeah, because we used to be
Oh, yeah.
just 10, 11, 12.
Right,
Yeah.
but because the ninth is at the high school,
When the
I mean,
ninth-
it used to be, it just.
You're right though, Rebecca, because then they would take their grades from junior high, that ninth grade year, and carry those
Yeah.
in.
So possibly recognition of
Yeah,
that, just
yes.
do 10, 11,
Uh-huh.
12. And then we have a good 2, 3 semesters to really see
Yeah.
where those freshmen really are.
Yeah.
Because that first semester is, sometimes it's kind of scary.
That
And
makes
they do
sense.
fine after that.
I mean, that makes sense.
Big change, there could be big
Started,
changes in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Sophomore year.
Any other questions?
All
We'll
right.
come up
Thank you
with
for
some
all this
ideas on
information.
how
We
to-
will present to our parents.
Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next, we have the 2017-18 grant update, and first we have Mr. King doing the Perkins part of that.
Perkins all over there.
Perkins, all of that.
We've got 3 main grants we work with, mostly our biggest one is this year will be the Perkins. Perkins has gradually been going up for the last several years. You can see there it's going to drop. They're changing the way they're doing things. At DESE, they're going to look more, funding's going to be based on placement, the amount of teachers we have that are certified and as close to 1 FTE they are, and completers. So, which we are really good in all those areas, but where we're going to lose funding is, overall numbers, we don't compare to somewhere like, hey, it's got a lot more teachers, a lot more kids. So ours is going to drop, kids probably going to go up. So good for them. But we'll do the best we can with what we got, and right now, this is kind of our current budget that I'm roughly estimating for next year is $197,400. That's just an estimation. I will not know the allocations until about April or May. But right now, our current breakdown is we're using about $19,000 for equipment. I focus on programs that aren't enhancement grant eligible, and I put those items on the Perkins budget. That's 100%. We pay none of that money. 102.5 goes towards salaries. 10 is for professional development for our teachers to go to trainings in MOAC in the summertime. Allows myself to go. I've got 3 I go to. It's our MOAC group. It's our Missouri directors. We have our meetings, our mostly financial meetings every year. And then we are allowed, I'm estimating $65,000 for area center fees, which is to offset the cost of instruction for the sending schools. That's the rough breakdown. It'll change a little bit when I get the final numbers in, and what usually I'll cut out. If I've got to cut anything, I'll cut some of the equipment out if we have to, which I hope we don't have to.
So, Chad, so you're taking about 10% cut from funding.
I hope that's
You
all.
hope that's all, okay.
I really, it's an.
Where are you taking that 10% from, just?
Where am I gonna take it from? It'll come out of the equipment. We just won't buy the equipment. The next thing I look at taking is PD, and then after that would be the area center fees.
Gotcha.
So hopefully, I'm hoping that's it. The thing about it is with the equipment, we don't go buy equipment to buy equipment, to have fancy shiny stuff. Most of the time, we're replacing items. One of the things, we got an item on that in Henson's class that it was just shot and it needs to be replaced. And when we want to replace it, we want to replace it with something bigger and better that's going to last us for a period of time. So our next biggest grant is the enhancement grant. It's a match grant. It's 75-25 for anything over $1,000, and it is 50-50 for anything under $1,000. I'm going to rephrase that, between $200 and $1,000, and that is not in any type of software. Things like that are all 50-50, no matter the cost. Our Project Lead the Way Fund, participation fee, which is software, $3,000 a year. Well, it only matches 50-50, which is fine. Same with Microsoft and Adobe. Currently, the grant is, and like I said, I haven't finished the total budget for the year, but right now I'm estimating right around $63,000 on the enhancement grant, which only $18,691 would be the district side of that, cost of that. And that's actually going to be less because I took a few things out today. So the remaining $44,000 will be state funds. On the back, I probably know the back there, just scroll down. Our third grant is the Improving Childhood, the CDA grant. It's a competitive grant. This is the last year for it. My first year, to my knowledge, we never wrote until my first year here, and I found out about it at one of my meetings. So we wrote for it, and we've gotten it every year. This is the last year for it. I have a feeling they're gonna take those funds, put them somewhere else, and call it something different. And so I think that's kind of how some experiences that I had dealing with those guys in the past. So I'll just have to figure out what that is and if it fits us. But that's solely for our preschool program, and we use it to pay for the CDA test. That's our most expensive certification test, $425 a shot per kid. So right now I'm estimating about $3,000 for that test. We use preschool equipment. Our play sets is getting pretty bad, and it's getting to the almost unsafe stage. So construction is going to build some bigger and better ones. I don't know if you've ever driven by the set at the place out there, but these monstrous swing sets. Construction did that. You know, it's $1,000 swing set we built for about $185. So that's what that $1,000 is going to go for a new play set that we're going to have built by the kids. It's going to save us a lot of money. And it'll actually probably be less than that. Then the rest of that money goes towards to offset our teacher's aid. Alicia pays for all that. So hopefully they'll come out with something that I can get for. We can still kind of get some of that money out there. We also write for several other ones throughout the year. We don't always get them, but we try. Shrinker wrote for a welding grant this year for about $70,000. He didn't get that. We wrote for the case grant through Ag, which is about $5,000. We got it last year, didn't get this year. And there's several other little ones that if we can use them, all right for them. So, you guys any questions?
Chad, do we stagger our fees based upon whatever class they take, or is it a set fee
Set fee.
per child?
$12.50 per student.
Is that something, can we stagger our fees? Like if we got more overhead in a class like welding, let's say, can we charge those students more that take welding?
That's another state.
We set the rate that we want to set on tuition. I wouldn't do that. I don't think that's fair to the other schools, because to me, if you did that and I'm Bernie, I might discourage a kid, because I can tell you welding's our most expensive program, and Shrinker does an outstanding job. He's got a budget, $700 a kid, that's what he figures. And he's got it down pat. He can tell you every penny he's spent and has for the rest of the year. Literally, to the penny.
Well, it's just gonna be supply and demand. We
Right.
raise our prices, we'll stop getting kids.
Right, exactly, and I think they might discourage, hey, don't go to welding, why don't you go over here to something that's gonna be cheaper? You know, I don't think that's.
It all kind of averages.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. And we do incentives. I mean, ever since I've been here, we've had incentives on, you know, if you increase your enrollment, you get a percentage taken off your overall bill. If you have girls in welding, because that's one of our goals that we have, non-traditional is what they call it, you get a discount on your bill. Those are just incentives in place when I got here, and I never have changed it. The other thing I've changed on billing is I've made it averages out to be like $7.08 a day, or just $7 a day. We used to charge, if a kid drops, or I have to kick him out, or he gets kicked out of his home school in the middle of the semester, well, now you're paying $325. Or if he drops that semester, you're paying $625, $600 and something dollars. Well, we've had kids that are right in the middle of the quarter that move or disappear. So that sending school's paying for a whole nother month and a half of school for that kid, and he's not even there. So I've changed that just to make it a little more fair to them, so they're not paying, you know, having to pay for a quarter when the kid was only there half a quarter. You follow? Sure. So, which we don't have that very often, unless I gotta kick somebody out, or they kick somebody out. I know, like Scott County Central fell in that category this last semester, because they had a kid that did something that wasn't supposed to be done, and again, it's on a very long-term suspension.
Any feelers for any other semi schools that may possibly join us?
Don't know, don't ask. That's a no-no. You know, I can't. That's
Oh, so you can't go like you can't.
No. Because you're talking, that's taking federal money away from other schools. Because they get Perkins, we get the Perkins money from those schools. If I go rob Madrid of somebody.
No, I guess I didn't take it like that. Somebody that well, I guess it's typically a high school, if they either have a career tech or they send, okay. Okay. And that was kind of.
So I guess
Scott.
a more PC question would be, how are the strength of the surrounding career and tech schools in comparison to ours?
Well,
I think we're pretty darn good.
Cape, is
Yeah, well, I know we are.
Cape is really nice and has about everything you could want. But they're, I think we produce a better product than they do, student-wise and placement, things like that. Of course, once again, we're messing with about 150 a year coming out of our programs. They're messing with about 400 coming out of their programs, so it's easier to place 150 than it is 400. And New Madrid, you guys know about New Madrid. Kennett runs a solid program, Bluff runs a solid program. But, I think we're, I'll just tell you this, from the reps that come to our school from like Lincoln and Nashville Auto Diesel College, Tulsa, I'm drawing a blank on the welding school over in Nevada that we send a bunch of kids to every year. I've been told several times, of all the area, in our areas, basically South Missouri, from West Plains over and south of Cape, ours is the best, but we can't compare to Cape. We can't, so, or West Plains. But all the other ones in between, we're the best, we're the most updated shop-wise and things like that with our equipment.
Is there potential to have students from another state come to our
No.
current tech?
Oh, that's their favorite money, and Illinois, it's all junior colleges. They don't even have a career in tech schools. It all goes, and I think Tennessee's the same.
Oh, really?
They go to junior college similar to Jeffco. Hillsboro, they go to Jeffco. They got a subsection, which would be ideal. We could do the same thing with Three Rivers if they want to play, but they don't. So, in Ozark, OTC, the kids in Springfield area will go to OTC. And then, that's a junior college. So we've got a couple places around here that do that. Any other questions?
Thank you, Chad.
I gotta go to basketball. Hey, y'all have a good evening.
Next, we have Mr. Prater. Mr. Prater's got a couple sections there. We'll deal with the top funds and then also the special education program report. So Lynn, I'll let you go ahead and present both those pieces for us.
The first page I put in there was a little overview of how much money we get from federal grants. You all have that as your first good. Okay. You can see I put 2 years in, last year and this year. And you can see, first of all, the two charts are a little bit different because title numbers have changed a little bit. We used to have 6B, now we have 4A and 5B. So if you look at it, you can see we don't get as much money overall. Pretty good drop there in Title 1A, which is our biggest chunk, from 1.474, 1.309 there, so that was a loss. We lost a pretty good chunk in Title 2A, and then the Title 4A and 5B you add those together, you're kind of back to where you were in the amount that 6B had. But you may not know what those letters or numbers mean, so there's just a brief description all the way over to your right.
I'm sorry. I know, that hurt last night.
That's not part of my report. So let me just move ahead, and you can take me back if you have a question about that. We've got 3 goals, 2 for Title 1, Goal 1, and the Title 1, Goal 2, and then there's a goal for Title 3, which is ELL. Basically, our idea was to use our title resources to help kids in reading and math, which we have title services in kindergarten and the 3 elementary schools. So as you can look back, you can see that was our goal, and if you go to the second page, we did well this time. We met our goal to increase their scores in Common Arts and math, and the numbers there are for you. Good growth, 5.5, 3rd grade ELA, 4th grade ELA, we got 8.80 growth. In math, we got 9.8, 11.1, so that was great news, and we're happy about that. But overall, what we're trying to do is just target instruction for whichever children need it. Now, a lot of times it's those with the greatest need, but title funds can be used to help anybody. Maybe they just have a little area that they need help in, so they can go into title services for a week or a day or whatever amount of time they need to get that problem resolved. So that was good. And then the goals are the same. If you look at The goals for next year, they're the same, trying to increase those numbers again. And a report on Title I Goal 2, this is where we try to offer more opportunities to involve parents. I know we talked a little bit about parent involvement last night, so this is one of the things we're doing is to have to offer teachers and principals parent involvement training, which I helped do that. And the goal will be met if we do it at least one school. We did it last year at Southeast Elementary, where we had 11 teachers who stayed after school once a week to do that training with me. And I think some of the new ideas that are coming out for reaching parents, I know some of you, somebody said last night that one school was going out and doing home, saw all their kids before school started. So those are the kind of things that come out of these trainings. The teachers get pumped up about finding new ways to reach parents, and then they go out and do new things. So I think it's important. I wish we would do more than one school a year, but you know, it's a step in the right direction. So basically our goal for next year is the same there, just at least do one school. And then the English language learners, that's kind of a pain to do because we don't even get funding for it, but yet we have approximately 24 students right now who are in that category who need extra help because of their language needs. And the counselor was getting ready to test those students. And the tests start right, I think the first day was yesterday, and we test through a window at the end of February. And we're going to see if we can get below 20. Because the law is if we have 20 or more, we have to hire an ELL teacher. So right now we're hovering just a little over that, and hope some of them drop out. So basically that's it in a
So the
nutshell.
law requires it to be 20, and they got more than that, but they won't provide any funding for it?
No funding, no. And one back in, okay, well, we'll just have to see. We don't want to call time until we've exhausted every opportunity to get back down to that number. Actually, our score went down a little, but that's kind of understandable because we had 4 or 5 kids came in that were some kind of a language you guys may have heard. I can't even say what it was, but it was so unusual. You know what it is.
Yeah.
What was it, Jody?
It's a dialect of Spanish that only about 2,000 people in the world speak. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, so we weren't really, we didn't have much,
Very sad.
it wasn't something that, what's the online thing we use, Chuck? Not Rosetta, but the one that was recommended.
Oh, Duolingo.
Duolingo and things like that, you can't even use with that because it's so rare. So they kind of dropped their score down, but that's just understandable in my opinion. So basically, we're trying to get back up, get our numbers back up. Hope those kids are showing progress. And what we're wanting to do is that they have academic progress in our traditional subjects. It's not only about learning the language; it's just that they perform well.
Right.
And the number one strategy, from what I understand, is just to immerse them in our culture and our language. That's the best thing you can do is put them in a room full of kids, and they're going to learn a whole lot of stuff, typically speaking. So,
Questions?
that's the title part.
Okay. Lynn?
Got one more.
One more, there's a special ed program report, which is 8 pages. I'm not going to go through all that, but the first page just gives you a summary of how many students we have in special ed, which December 1 child count, just past December. This report, as you see at the bottom, just came out on December 12th, so it's real recent information. We have 394 students now, which continues to rise. It was a little bit smaller last year, but it was like 365 not too long ago, so the sped count continues to rise, and this is kind of interesting because we've been working to lower the number of students in ID. So we've lowered that, as you can see. That went down 15 kids from last year, but overall we still have more students receiving special services. The following pages are just breakdowns of how many kids are in regular ed and special ed, percentage of the day, their ethnic breakdowns, those kind of things. Probably don't need to go through that page by page, but that first page will give you a pretty good idea of where we stand. We still have several autistic children. We had an increase in students in speech impairment. And that's about it.
Any questions for Lynn on the special education program report. Thank you, Lynn.
Thanks, Lynn.
Okay, next item on the agenda is this, student enrollment as of January 4th, 2018. And on your chart, you can see that we're at 3,318 students. Again, we're down 12 students. K through 6, we were down 3. 7 through 12, we were down 5. And then the alternative school, we were down 4. And as you know, it's not necessarily bad going down at the alternative school, because that typically means at this time of year that they're graduating. So that's where we are with that. Next item, we have the student discipline data, and as of December 2017, that information is in there for you to review. Are there any questions on that? Okay. Next, we have in there for your consideration board policies. MSBA has proposed EHBC, IGBE, KL, and KLA. EHBC is data governance and security, and let's talk about this policy was developed to address the security of all district data. They're just beefing up this policy to take in the whole scope of what's going on within our district. IGBE, students in foster care. This policy is updated to comply with the ESSA. KL, public concerns and complaints. Again, this has been updated to comply with ESSA. As is, let's see, KLA, complaints regarding federal programs, and that particular program is tied to board policy KL. IL, which is assessment programs. Again, ESSA had something to do with as far as updating this policy. In addition, I put in there too a little bit about the ACT, because on page 6 of that policy, we removed the ACT test, simply just stating, since the foundation is now paying for that test for our juniors to take, let me clarify, for our juniors to take, not the district, that it would not be there for the community to take that if they so desire. For example, like a kid that may reside within a district but doesn't necessarily go to school. Okay. I believe that's it.
Tom, on that data governance and security one, that first one. Yeah, you know, MSBA, there are a lot of comments about you really need to look at this every school, and, you know, we had really technical people working on this, and
I'm looking at
you
it.
may not be able to do all the
Yes.
things that this says, and I'm looking at this ISO officer as it reads, and that is a huge task for someone, and a lot of liability and a lot of power of who gets to do what and when, and, you know, monitoring everybody's information. And I mean, I think
Rebecca, first up, we have
that now.
prior to Christmas for some time. And then I put this on the board for consideration. I'm not so sure that I want it on consideration right now, because there is a lot of information that needs to be discussed and looked at. And we have several administrative procedures yet that we need to go back and look at and review. I'm fine with putting this on the back burner, to be honest with you. Because I think there's a lot of discussion that needs to go through in order to hashing out what this really means.
Yeah, you don't want to have something that you have to do and not be
Yeah.
doing it. If you've
Yeah.
got a policy, you've
Yeah.
got to make sure every piece of that is going to be in place and able to be done and reasonable for the district and the cost. I mean, yeah, there are laws you have to follow on this data stuff. Okay, well, I feel better to back my head and feel like you said it.
Okay, next under court requiring action is to request schedule an executive session immediately following this meeting to discuss student matters.
I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session.
Second.
Mr. Crumpacker?
Yes.
Ms. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Boyce?
Yes.
Mr. Booth? Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Alcom?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, next item is consideration of applied behavioral analysis therapy services as of January through June of 2018. And Mr. Crater, can you present that?
Yes, we have one bidder, and it's the one we've been working with. We have a good relationship with them, and we'd like to go ahead and continue on with that from the ABA group at Cape.
And it's the same cost, it didn't go up.
Nothing changed. been that way fortunately for,
Yeah.
it's unheard of, by the way, but we got lucky or they like us or what, but we'll take it.
I move we accept the recommendation to enter into this contract with Applied Behavioral Analysis Therapy Services.
Second.
Any discussion or comments, questions? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you. Next, we have the approval of paid bills through December of 2017.
Make a motion to approve the paid bills list.
Can we do this by roll call? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Motion is second. Questions, discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
And next, we have the consideration of FEF. And so if you want to turn to that part in your, Rebecca, you had a
Yeah,
comment
there
on
was
that?
there's one word that I thought it would be to an advantage, I think it would be better to say, like you changed the shall or will or should to a may. And then on the next line, I think we should say those places may include instead of should include, because again,
Okay.
Where are you?
Page 4.
Page 4,
Under bidding,
on that
first
paragraph.
Page 4 under bidding, is that right, Rebecca?
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Go ahead back and tell me again what you said, Rebecca. I'm
You
sorry.
know, at the top there, or under bidding,
Yes.
we changed the language, instead of saying and should be advertised in, well, no, wait, we changed it,
It was
Change
May,
it to
they
May.
put it to should, we moved it back to May.
may. I
Yeah.
think right below that, instead of saying should,
Got
it
it.
should be may,
Okay.
for the same reasons.
Those places may
Yeah,
include.
include.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just not hem yourself in.
Yes.
Hey, hey, I got some candy in this bag.
No, good.
You needed to make it through. So do we need to, you made a motion to change that,
To
Brian?
amend that and accept it with the amendment.
Prior to that, if you don't mind, Brian, you had read through that policy too.
The only change, and I don't know if it got, the one I'm looking at
It did
doesn't
not,
have the
no.
latest red line. Under change orders, which was the issue where we were taking, MSBA was gonna put in a paragraph, we were not gonna put that in. The first sentence under change orders, I think should read, change orders in excess of $5,000 will not be approved without board action, period. And take out the except as outlined in this policy.
Oh,
Because it does, there's
Yeah,
nothing else,
right.
there's
Yeah.
nothing, there's no
There's nothing
exception.
after that.
got it.
That's more, I admitted in my email I sent to Summer that was nitpicky. But I am who I am.
So,
Okay.
So I would amend my motion to include removing that
Except,
except as outlined in this
except as
policy.
outlined in this policy.
In a period after action.
Okay. Got it.
Second.
Further discussion, comments, questions?
Yeah, Brian, if we make that change, though, that second paragraph that's gonna be added in is accepted.
no, that's,
It's taken out.
that is
Coming out.
MSBA, the second paragraph.
Oh,
in the
it's not
change
line
order.
2 on
It's
here.
No.
not, it was in, when I checked it earlier today, it was lined through, and it's not now, and I don't know
It was
why.
lined through on the superintendent's note.
Ah, that must be
Oh, is it?
where I,
That's because I remember.
Well, yeah, because I ran that off of the note, so.
Okay,
I mean,
well, it's not an issue if it is line 2,
Yeah,
but
it's-
what I'm seeing is not line 2.
This is a copy right here, Scott.
and I don't,
Okay.
I just clicked on superintendent notes and I don't see that.
No,
Earlier
that's not there.
today, it was a
Earlier
red
today.
line
Uh-huh.
thing.
Yeah.
So we're going, yeah,
I have the copy right here.
but that paragraph, Scott, was the one that I think everybody had.
Right, we have to start learning about it, yeah.
Yeah, as long as that's taken out, then no further discussion.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. Do we need to Well, that's already taken out, now I don't want
Yeah.
to add it to your motion,
No,
so.
no, we don't.
Okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed?
Okay, Mr. Tanner, I'll turn it over to you for consent agenda items.
All right, consent agenda items, the approval of minutes, special work session December 6, 2017, work session December 12, 2017, regular session December 12, 2017, executive session December 12, 2017, special session December 22nd, 2017, executive session December 22nd, 2017, ratification of the substitute teacher report, ratification of extra duty assignment report, the approval of the following board policies as proposed by MSBA, BBBA, DGA, DJF, DHB, rescinding KBA, and the acceptance of employee resignation tendered. I'll need a motion to accept those consent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Now we'll entertain a motion to adjourn from. Motion and a second. All those in favor? They're adjourned. Thank you all.
I think we have, I think folks from here, they're ringing the doorbell. Shannon?
Yeah.
Shannon?
Yes.
Is that?
Good job, sorry, you
That's all right.
It's longer than you thought it would be.
Way longer than what I was.
So you,
Yes,
you're the same boat as me.
I know, this is,